Hello, everyone. Mark here. This is for week 7. This week is a videotaped uh, introduction to the major assignment or the assignment that you guys have to finish off for this semester. So I'm just going to read through this Word document. This Word document is also uploaded onto the Blackboard shell under week 7. You can find it in a couple different areas, but I'm just going to read through this and explain to you what this assignment is refers to. This individual assignment is worth 30% of your final mark. It encompasses 2 parts. Part 1 of the assignment, I need you to create a ladder/schematic diagram, a ladder diagram, much like you've done in the Blueboard labs, um, based on your specific wiring diagram. And I'll show you those wiring diagrams in a minute. This ladder schematic diagram should be in any software that you want, such as Microsoft Visio. I also have a quick video on how Microsoft Visio works. This software is also available in the F121 lab and is available under apps. So I'll show you how you can book your own hands-on lab and do your final drawing, if you want to call it that, in Microsoft Visio. I'll show you a couple things about that. The diagram, this diagram that you have, that you guys are going to be making, should have a full legend. A full legend is a boxed off area that shows the different symbols needed for the diagram that you have. So utilize HVAC symbols for switches and loads, and it needs to look professional. Those wanting to use software or computer to create this will get the top marks. In order to get top marks, you have to do it on a software. I don't really care what software you use. You could use Microsoft Excel. I've seen guys use Word, but you'll find that this Visio has all of the symbols and everything that you need to do this properly, and it's probably the easiest one to do. Those deciding to submit the diagram with a hand-drawn version will lose marks. I won't accept anything that's, even if it's hand-drawn without a ruler. That's just crazy. Anyways, those deciding to submit the diagram with hand-drawn will lose marks, so you will not get top marks if you all of a sudden you're starting off, and then anything that's wrong with it, you'll lose marks from there. So your best scenario would be to create it in a software. Either version will be submitted electronically through Blackboard. You'll see a assignment 1 and assignment 2. Those 2 things will be through Blackboard, and you just upload your diagrams and you're done for the part 1. This part 1 will need to be submitted by week 11 by 2 p.m. on Friday, July 31st. So that is the second last week of school. You will have to the end of that week to submit it. Obviously, it can be submitted at any time before that. If you get the diagram done next week and you want to submit it, go for it. It's off your plate. Part 1 will be marked out of 40 as per the rubric on Blackboard. There's a rubric under assignment 1 that will tell you how I'm going to mark that, and it's based on all kinds of different criteria. So that is part 1 of your assignment. I'll show you guys the diagrams in a minute. Part 2, create a sequence of operation for that same diagram, for your specific ladder schematic diagram. This sequence operation is based on your diagram and is to assist with the understanding of how the furnace works. You could use technical values such as voltage, ohms, amps, whatever you need to describe how exactly your furnace works. These values can be made up, as true values are now available for your furnace. So if you tell me, I don't know, the ohms across the gas valve is 30, I could care less. Just tell me what it is. I'm not going to call you on that. All major and minor parts of the furnace should be included. So if you have a thermostat that turns on a relay that closes a switch that turns on a venter motor, you need to, every one of those should be accounted for in your sequence of operation. Description of how the air conditioning So that's R and Y, and the fan on operation should also be included. So you're not only doing an RW and the sequence operation for heat. I want you to give me a quick sequence operation of what happens when air conditioning is called for, or someone wants to go from auto to on. Okay, that should also be included. The sequence operation could be completed using software such as Visio, Word, or Excel. Utilizing a flowchart will assist in how the sequence operation works. Just Google flowchart and it'll show you they're basically bubbles with arrows that show you this happens and then this happens. This happens and then this happens. So you can work your way through that way. It's easier to understand. I want you to understand that this drawing and this sequence of operation that you're doing, I want that in a quality that it could go into a furnace manual. So I want you to show exactly how that sequence of operation works and exactly what that drawing will look like. Okay. Utilizing a flowchart will assist in how the sequence of operation works. Those deciding to submit a hand-drawn or written version will automatically be deducted 30%. So those of you that want to get top marks on this, and I know some of you are really trying to achieve 100% in this course because some of you are already holding that number, you'll want to try and pull this off. Either version will be submitted electronically through Blackboard. You only need to submit one version, obviously. I don't want to see a hand-drawn one and I want your final version. You're only going to submit that. This part 2 will be submitted by week 12 at 2 p.m. on Friday, August 7th. That is the last day of school for the semester. That is when it's due. That's not when you submit it. You will submit it as soon as you're done it. Anything past that, you will get 0. Obviously, it can be submitted anytime. This part 2, the top mark will be 60. There will be no extensions granted for any reason. You can also submit as soon as you're finished. I will not allow a group hand-in or plagiarism of any kind. It's pretty easy for me to put 2 of them next to each other and see that they're identical. So those having identical submissions will be given a 0. That's plagiarism and not be tolerated. Your wiring diagrams you are assigned are based on your student number. If you have an even digit, you have diagram number 1. If you have an odd digit, you have diagram number 2. Here is diagram number 1. Diagram number 1 is this is a wiring diagram, not a ladder or schematic diagram. This shows you where the wires are actually going. You will need to take a look at this setup here and go through and give me a wiring diagram with all of these different things on it and explain how the sequence operation works. You'll also see up here we have something called a WR fan center. That's White Rogers fan center. I will do a separate tutorial on how a fan center works. So those of you that do not understand this black box here just entails as an electrical enclosure, and these dots here are usually where MARETs are. Okay, so this is a wiring diagram. You can see where L and neutral come in. This is for those of you that have a even digit for your student number. You have diagram 1. Diagram 2. This is diagram 2. Diagram 2, again, is another one that also has what's called a fan center in it. You will see a couple other things in this one. This is diagram 2. They're very similar as far as the complexity of the diagrams. But if you have your student number is odd at the end, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, you are going to have diagram number 2. Okay, so that's basically how that works. These diagrams will also be on Blackboard to help you understand. I am also available for questions, or if you want me to quickly look over a diagram, that is an option that I also will give you. So if you want to send me a picture of it and say, hey, Mark, am I reading this right? I'll pretty well go there. I'm not going to mark it. I'm not going to tell you. I may answer a specific question, but I'm not doing it for you. So this is the assignment. A lot of you will see it as something that is fairly easily done. Others will struggle a little bit with it, but there's not a huge amount of hours that go into it. Although with class time, I allocate 6 hours that to do it. So week 7, which is next week, 2 hours of class. Week 11 is 2 hours, and then week 12 are 2 hours. There is no final exam in this course, so you have to pull off this assignment. So anyways, I'm going to stop this video. This is the introduction to the electrical 1012 assignment, and there'll be a couple other videos to follow. Thank you.